Ask those strangers, ask people. Hey guys, it's Ayo and welcome back to my channel, ayo.does. So today's video is going to be all about how to be safe when you're traveling solo, especially as a woman. So I'm going to start with some tips that I pulled basically from my solo trip to Greece last year. I took my very first ever solo trip to Santorini, Paros, and Athens, Greece. First of all, it was an amazing trip and I have so many details and so many videos on my TikTok detailing my experience and places that I'd recommend visiting, whether you're solo or not. So let's get right into it. Do your research on wherever you're visiting and find out if they have ride sharing apps or if they only use taxis or if they don't do any of that and you have to basically like walk or something, or take a train, take public transportation, because it's very important that you find out beforehand versus getting there and then being stranded because you didn't know how the transportation works. So for example, in Greece, it's only taxi drivers that can actually use Ubers. So if you order an Uber, a taxi will pull up. So when I went to Greece, before I even arrived to Santorini, my host told me he can pre-order the taxi for me and I would just pay like 20, 25 euros to take me from the airport to the Airbnb. Same with the Airbnb in Paros. But when I got to Athens, I could easily call an Uber taxi myself. It helps to know what kind of transportation is available to you even before you get there. My next tip would definitely be whatever method of transportation you're using, try to make sure you arrive at your destination in the daytime. I felt safer arriving in the daylight hours. In case of anything, I could see what was happening, I could see where I was going, and so that nothing can really surprise you in the dark. Another super important tip you should look into before you even leave for your trip, find out what currency the destination you're going to uses, takes, and make sure that you have that currency or you're able to use a credit card. And if not, you'll have to find some cash, whether by ordering the currency ahead of time through your bank or going to the destination and getting money from their ATMs. First of all, what I always do is I always look online to see what ATMs are reputable in that destination, and because other people will be able to tell you on forums which ATMs either, are scamming you or will take your card. So I always try to go to the most reputable ATM at the airport when I land in the destination. The reason I use an ATM versus using a currency exchange is because currency exchanges mark up the prices of those currencies 90% of the time. I found that they will be charging way more than just getting the ATM and having the banks set the exchange rate as you're getting the money out. Make sure that you use a debit card that refunds you ATM fees, because even though you'll get charged the ATM fee at that time, your bank will be able to refund you like the end of the month if you have a card that refunds ATM fees, because the ATMs, they can charge whatever fees they want. But at the end of the month, if I've gone somewhere and I went to take money out of an ATM, I'll be able to get those fees refunded to me. You also should find out whether the destination accepts credit cards or just takes cash. Because for example, in Paros, which is a smaller island in Greece, the taxis only took cash. They didn't take credit card. They didn't take any form of mobile payment. They only took euros. So I had to have the physical euros on me. And that's another reason why I went to the ATM to withdraw money. Even though in Athens, you can easily use card, and in Santorini as well, you can use card, but not everywhere and not every shop or establishment accepts card. Another tip, if you're a woman traveling solo especially, is to not look lost. You just have to look as confident as possible to avoid drawing attention to yourself. Even when I was, driving my ATV in Santorini, I got lost because I couldn't really hold my phone to look at the directions and be safe on the ATV. So I had to stop, look at the directions first, and then make my way. And when I stopped, someone came to ask me if I needed help because they saw me stopped on the side of the road, looking at my phone. And I obviously looked like a foreigner. So I think they were concerned, but that person also might not have had the best intentions. So it's just very important to look as confident as possible and to know where you're going before you even start walking. I wouldn't advise actually holding your phone if you are looking at directions. If you need to, you can obviously take a glance, but put it away if you can so that people don't see that you're following your map directions. the entire way. People can be bad actors, and the less lost you look, the less people are going to be like, maybe I should talk to her or see if she needs help. Even if you just know the general direction of wherever you're going, like a restaurant, just make sure you know whether you need to be going right from your hotel or going left from your hotel, things like that. So you're not constantly going back and forth because you're not navigating correctly. My next tip would be to bring personal safety items if you can. I felt a little bit more safe having like a personal safety alarm in case I was walking late at night. I wanted to make sure I would be able to draw attention to people in the vicinity in case I needed help. You can't fly with pepper spray or knives, so you have to make sure you bring items that can pass through TSA or whatever security that you're going through. So I was able to bring a personal safety alarm, a door lock, a door stop alarm. Those are all great things to bring with you, whether you're traveling solo or not. But I think they personally help me feel safer, especially because my Airbnbs oftentimes open to the outdoors. So I liked having a door stop alarm right at the door in case of any intruders. And you can do this with the hotel door as well, because people that work at the hotel also have access to your room. Use the door stop alarm if you can, use the door lock. I can make a little quick video about how to use these door locks because sometimes they're a little bit confusing when you first get them and you're like, what is this? Another tip would be to share your location with trusted family and friends. I have an iPhone and I have the Find My app where I share my location with my family and close friends, so everybody knows where I am at all times. But don't stop at just sharing your location. You can also take it a step further and tell your closest family or friends or whoever that you can trust and is looking out for your safety, that you're moving from place to place, especially if you're solo. I would tell my family, hey, I just arrived on the quick flight from this city to this city, things like that, so that everybody's aware of your movements as well, because not everybody's always checking your location live. So it's good to just give them like a heads up that then they can, go and quickly see where you're at and make sure that you're still safe and still on the route that you told them that you would be on. Another tip would be to spend some time before the trip alone, going on solo dates and just doing activities alone, dining alone, so that you get used to the feeling of sitting somewhere by yourself or walking somewhere by yourself or enjoying something by yourself, and so that you don't hate the experience of traveling solo when you get there, because you'll feel awkward if you've never had time to just be alone. You're going to feel like people are staring at you or making note of the fact that you're solo, and it's okay if you don't end up enjoying traveling solo. It's not for everyone, and some people enjoy the company and sharing their trips with others, and that's totally fine. But if you want to try something new, I would highly, highly recommend trying out a solo trip. Also, before and after your solo trip, going on solo dates, spending time out in the wild, like in public by yourself, so that you can get used to the idea of enjoying your solitude and finding new things to do without waiting on others to come with you. And a lot of people have asked me how I get pictures when I'm by myself. Ask those strangers. Ask people. Like, that is the number one thing I will do, is ask people. I do travel with a tripod, but sometimes the tripods aren't like sturdy enough to hold up my phone. I can't always trust my tripod to stay in place. So sometimes it's quicker and easier to just ask somebody to take a picture for you. Just like you would with a group. You've traveled with a group and you've probably asked somebody who's walking by, hey, can you take a picture of my friends and I? Do the same thing for yourself. Hey, can you take a picture of me? 9 times out of 10, they'll want to help you. They'll see that you're alone and be like, oh yeah, of course. Like, don't be afraid to ask them to take a little more, or ask another stranger. And you can offer the same in return, just to be nice and just to make it worthwhile for them as well. There's lots of ways to get your pictures taken. You can also bring a tripod. You can also have, self timer on your phone, set up your phone somewhere if you don't have a tripod. And just to get some nice pictures. Like, there's nothing wrong with, getting a few pictures. People take pictures all the time. So I don't think it's inconveniencing people too much to ask them to take a picture. Again, return the favor and take pictures of them, so that everybody's happy. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and check out my TikTok and Instagram for more travel tips, travel vlogs, and recommendations.